Hi, how are you? Back again, and welcome to the tarot segment. And this is where we're going to do a lovely tarot spread. And as I was getting the cards ready, what popped out of the guided oracle was Pachamama. And Pachamama is the earth spirit who loves all of her children. And the earth represents her child, and she is loving unconditionally. So that's Pachamama. So she popped out, so it fits nicely with the Venus moving into Pisces. So let's have a little look. I've got two tarot decks, and I'm going to start working with this one, which is the Shadowscapes Tarot. It's really complicated. So my suggestion for you, they're really beautiful. They're unbelievably earthy and quite spiritual, is I will hold them up, and then what I want you to do is take a quick snapshot, have a good look at the card, freeze the video, and then continue. So you get to see the cards because they're very beautiful and they're wonderful to work with, and this is Shadowscapes. So let's just see what we've got with Shadowscapes, and then after that it's the Botticelli. So let's have a look at the energy and the messages for navigating. Okay. So we'll see what's coming through. Just let me... Ooh, big loss like that. That's not good. Okay. Gonna send me some cards. You're being really stubborn. Not yet. Okay. So I'm just going to cut the cards into 3 piles. Oh, okay. A little bit complicated, but hey, that's what we're doing. Okay, very good. Okay, so 4 from this pack, and let me just show you what lies underneath, which is going to be interesting. Okay, so we've got the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles traditionally talks about new beginnings in terms of how we live our life on earth, because Pentacles are all earthly. And so Page also talks about messages coming through and new beginnings and new starts. So there's something very much about this being a new start to how we're living our life. And living our life is not just the physical aspects of it, but remember we talk about it a lot. This is the physical aspects of how we're living, and your physical aspects are a reflection of who you are inside. So there's some changes coming to that. That's the environment. Oh, look at what we've got. And the word that popped into my head while I was shuffling that came through a really strong message was desires. So these cards, there's some messages in here about what we desire, and particularly if what we're desiring is a change in how our life is. Okay, so we start off with a 5 card, and we start off with the 5 of Cups. So you get a chance to stop and have a little look at that before I read. So that's the 5, that's the first one out, 5 of Cups. After that, what came up was the Devil. Beautiful cards. So I'll let you now stop and have a look at that. Four of Wands. Oh dear. 4 of Wands. Well, sir, I'll let you stop and have a look at that. We know what the Devil is. We know what the 4 of Wands means. We'll put them all together in a minute. Okay. And now we're coming through. Can you see how beautiful that is? And that's the Seven of Cups. And it's a beautiful, beautiful representation. And what's interesting about this very different representation is it's a man and a woman together. And it's looking at the tree covered in earth, so there's an opportunity. So this is the man and the woman. This is relationships, this is partnerships, and having a think about how we want our life to be represented and manifested, which I think sits nicely with the energy. Okay. So we were talking about desires, that word that popped in my head, and that was the message. So Venus, we talked about her being the goddess of love, and love is also a desire. So some of this is starting for us to have new desires or start to evaluate those old desires that we have moving forward. So the Five of Cups, when we have a look at this representation and what that they're looking at is, and can you see it? Can you see how beautiful that is? Remember I said to you, the cups are about, fives are about change, cups are about emotions, and you can see all that swirling happening there, and Venus moving in just at the beginning. There's going to be a lot of swirling and emotion, and the Five of Cups typically is evaluating those cups that are empty and those cups that are full. Now this is slightly different because she is holding the cups that are full. So this is looking at what are my desires, and this is looking at the change and recognizing that we have moved, and some of the things that gave us fulfillment in the past are no longer giving us from the fulfillment in the future. So that's about the five. The only hesitancy we've got when we start thinking about desires, remember that saying the grass is always greener on the other side, is we've got the Devil card. And the Devil card is working in two ways. It's not being envious of what we think other people have. That's not the positive way to be thinking about your life, but that's a possibility of the devil. And that's you attaching yourself very firmly to envy and jealous and never feeling self-satisfied with what you have. So remember that the devil is all about entrapping yourself and allowing yourself to be trapped. And if you get trapped into this cycle of someone else has a better relationship, someone else has more than me, someone else someone else has, I don't, then what you're doing is you're trapping yourself. Yeah? And it's okay to recognize that you might want something that someone else has, but don't be defined by that. Don't let yourself be defined by that. Turn that into what do I want, and then go for that in a really big way. Start planning that out and go for it. But don't be defined by the lack of. Don't be defined by the lack of. Okay. And what sits nicely with the Devil card is the Four of Wands, which is a reflection card. And here we've got unicorns. So this is a reflection card, but it's also a reflection card in a positive sense. It's a reflection card of meditating on what you've got, what you want, and what your dreams are, and allowing that to be just a little bit magical, because that's what the Four is about, okay? So here's some really strong messages. There's going to be a lot, remember page communication, there's going to be a lot moving around internally inside you on an emotional, on a spiritual way, and also around you, because other people are going to be feeling this too, about what's working, what's not working, and what satisfies me now, what constitutes love and satisfaction for me now. Little message about the devil. Don't get caught up in what you don't have. Start thinking about what you would like to have and taking that forward. Don't get caught in the I don't have, but I want it because they have it. That's not a path for anybody. Wanting something because you genuinely want it is one thing. Wanting it because somebody else has got it, That's you wanting to be someone else. That's not you wanting to be you. Be you. You're wonderful. We're beautiful. People are wonderful. Okay. And then we have the Four of Wands, taking some time out to reflect and dream and dream the impossible. Look up to the sky and think about all the magic that it can happen and that can be. Because this is this time to be dreaming about love and where love takes us. And then last but not least is just a reminder. It is an opportunity, Seven of Cups. So one of the things that's been happening a lot in the last few weeks, months I've been talking about a little bit, is that we've been given a lot of opportunities. So through all this information that's been bubbling up from Chiron and the movement of Saturn into Taurus, and Saturn in Taurus is home environment, right? Earth, Pentacles. So what we're talking about in terms of doing all of this is that there are opportunities for us together in our partnership to be achieving. And it's got to do with how we live our life and how we live our life on this planet in the physical sense. So a lot of us will we're becoming quite clear about how we live our life, what's important to us, our jobs, making some big choices about that, some career changes maybe, some new products, some new services, some new partnerships. So that's all been happening. And Venus is double checking and really focusing on partnerships. Yeah. So this is also going to be coming together for us. So we will be starting to get a little bit more selective about what we want. Just final caveat. Don't get too caught up in the devil. I'm just going to do some clarifiers, and I think I'm going to do, Botticelli. I'm going to do work with Botticelli for a couple of clarifiers to see what, and something popped out already. Oh, see? And I've had that upside down. That's because the pack's upside down. Apologies. The Fool has popped up. The Fool. Now, remember, I spoke about the zero when I talked about the last moon, because we've had all these super moons, and the full moon in April, the full moon in March, the one we just had. Remember, that was also at zero, so many people were treating that also like a super moon. And it's that cusp, remember, where something's ended, something's beginning, but we haven't quite decided yet. There's no definition around it. And that's what the Fool is. It's this space of opportunity and beginning. And so it's interesting that the Fool's popped up in terms of partnerships and defining what our new relationships look like. So I think all of that's quite interesting. So let's just keep the Fool. And it's popped out like just as soon as I started. Are there any more clarifying messages that we should be looking at? Well, then you need to show me. Whoa, there we go. Oh, can't make it up, can you? Here we go. This is the Lovers. And the Lovers moving forward in action. And the Lovers is all about, in the cards, it's about us reflecting back to other people and seeing something in us, seeing our values, something that we value about ourselves being reflected back to us. So the other message is when we're looking at all those little niggles that I talked about could be coming up with Venus moving into Pisces, and particularly at the beginning, and Mercury in the shadow. And Mars in Pisces, with the duality, don't forget to still see those beautiful positive elements of our relationships with people where they're reflecting back to us something that we know, and sometimes something that we don't know, but is really beautiful. So don't just have your conversation with your partner about the niggles, also have the conversation with your partners about the respect and the mirroring. So that's really beautiful from Botticelli. And okay, so that's enough. And I'm going to just do, we had Pachamama pop out at the very beginning, which is Earth, Child and Love. Don't you just love that? I'll just see if there's any spirit guide messages. Nice big solid cards, come on. We're looking for a message. Okay, so we've got, oh, we got a lot. Okay, let's start with the beginning. Oh, look at that. Yes. The curse. The drum. And the hunter. Okay. So these are quite tribal and they're quite earthy. Okay. And it's good that they're going 14, 15 and things. So the curse. Take that. With the devil. Okay. So some of us spend all of our time looking for love. Not quite understanding that the relationship that we have with ourselves is going to be fundamentally the basis of the relationship that we have with someone else. So when we're looking at the curse, if you want to end this feeling or this cycle that your love life is being cursed, the path to doing that is to break free of your own devil. And Venus is about love, but it's not just about more, it's actually also about self-love. And the Four of Wands, taking time out, thinking about yourself in a really positive, lovely way, is all about self-love and self-care. So that's the curse. When Venus moves in and all this new energy happens, because she's moving in on the 26th of March to Pisces, a lot of us are going to feel like, where's our love? Where's my partner? Where's my soulmate? Where's my twin flame? They're there, but you need to love yourself first. Okay. And here it is, the drum, and we all know that saying, follow your own drum. And we love drums because they're so tribal and they're so earthy, and it's like the beat of the heart. So in this instance, it's asking you to listen for that fundamental primal beat, and that's the beat of your heart, and to be fundamentally in touch with your heart. So when you get a chance to meditate on the heart chakra and just feel, see if you can feel that vibration, see if you can feel that sound, feel your heart beating, and then later on see if you can hear that beat. And we all have our own drum, and we all beat our own drum, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's done with respect for ourselves and everybody else around us, which is the throat chakra. Okay. And last but not least, we got the hunter. Okay, so the hunter is talking about go for what you want. So we are also soon going to come up to, in April, the end of the astrology year. And the next couple of years are all about going forward and building the foundation for the next 20 years. So the hunter is all about making your own path, watching what's going on around you so that you know when and how to move, but definitely you deciding to go for what you want. It's an active time. And so this is what we're asking you to do. Remember, have these assertive conversations, either with yourself, what you want to do, with your partners, a more family, relationship, love, and also work. And have these conversations, strong, assertive conversations with someone you trust about what the next direction it is. And remember, a hunter doesn't keep going after a path once it's a dead end. They pay close attention to the conditions around them. They choose when it's the best time to go and hunt, when it's not. And if the prey gets away from them, then they start again and they start looking for for something else to hunt. And that's the hunter in a positive sense. Okay, so there are all the cards. You will be looking at what you value and what you don't value. You'll be looking at what gives you satisfaction, what doesn't give you satisfaction. The Devil card is asking you not to get caught up in what you don't have and what everybody else seems to have, but to really be clear about what you have, and you have a lot. Spend some time with yourself if you start to get caught up in a bit of a frenzy, thinking and dreaming, because you got the unicorns on the 4. Isn't it beautiful? And that's about dreaming. And the other thing we're going to start doing is it's time to be consolidating and reflecting on and making choices about what our outside life, our love life, how we live together, what we do together, who my partners are, and what that looks like. It's a reflection of you. Full card. We're on the cusp. It's undefined. There's freedom in this. So feel free to make those choices. Lovers. It's all about partnerships and looking at people and what they're reflecting back to you, and loving the fact that what they're giving back to you is what you're giving to them, and using that to build your sense of self, because that's also really, really important. Take note when someone gives you a compliment. Take note when someone supports you, because that tells you so much about yourself. Okay, and don't get up and caught in desires that curse. You're not cursed. You've got choices. Now's a really good time to execute those choices and step on out of your cage, your self-made cage. Okay. Follow your own path. Follow what resonates inside you in terms of how you define your relationships. It's not up to anybody else to tell you what your relationship should look like. It's purely between you and the other people involved. That's the essence of what it's about. And if we're out on the path and we're seeking to change what our relationships are, and we're seeking to change the direction we want to go into, follow the advice of the hunter. Watch the conditions, choose the path. You get caught up, stop, take a break, rethink, go again, different direction. All right. That's the tarot. Really lovely spending time with you. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon. Bye.